You are 19 years old and you live in Lagos. Not the Lagos people think about when they imagine Nigeria from the outside. Not the glass office towers on the island, not the restaurants on Victoria Island where a single meal costs more than your father earns in 2 weeks. You live in the Lagos that exists for most people who live there. The one with 4 people in a one-room apartment and one ceiling fan that moves the hot air around without actually cooling anything. You have a phone. It is a 2018 Android with a cracked screen and 3 gigabytes of storage, and it is the most important object you own. You have Wi-Fi from the neighbour whose password your cousin guessed last year. You have time because you finished secondary school 8 months ago and the university entrance exam cost money you did not have, and the job at the supermarket paid 18,000 naira a month, which is roughly $11 at the rate the bank gives you, and $11 does not move you anywhere close to where you need to go. You found the email template on a forum. Someone posted it in a group on Telegram. The template is titled Prince Letter version 14. You know it is version 14 because that is what it says in the file name. 13 versions before this one. 13 attempts by someone to get the wording just right. The email tells a story. It says you are the representative of a deceased government minister. It says there is $5 million sitting in a foreign account that cannot be released without the help of a trusted overseas partner. It says if the recipient agrees to assist, they will receive 30% of the total transfer as compensation for their time and their discretion. The number is specific because specificity makes things feel real. 8.5 million is not a round number. Round numbers feel like guesses. 8. 5 million feels like a bank balance. You copy the template. You change 3 words. You add the name of a real Nigerian ministry that you looked up in 10 seconds. You send it to 400 email addresses that you downloaded from a file someone shared in the Telegram group. The file is called Fresh US Leads 2023. It contains names, email addresses, and in some cases, phone numbers. You do not know who these people are. You do not think about who they are. You press send and you wait. The waiting is the part nobody tells you about. You wait for 3 days and nobody replies, and the silence feels like confirmation of something you already suspected about yourself. Then on day 4, a reply comes in. His name is Gerald. He is 67 years old and he lives in Ohio, and he types in all capital letters and he wants to know more. Gerald's reply is 3 sentences long. He is suspicious, but he is also curious. Suspicious and curious is the combination you need. Pure suspicion replies with scam and closes the tab. Pure curiosity with no suspicion gets bored and moves on. Suspicious and curious stays in conversation, and staying in conversation is everything, because you do not make money in one email. You make money the way water makes canyons, which is slowly, over time, wearing the same spot down until it breaks. You have a second template for this. The response template explains the urgency. It explains that the minister's family is being persecuted by the current government. It explains that time is running out. It attaches a document. The document is a PDF with a Nigerian government seal on it that you downloaded from a website and edited in a free app on your phone. The seal looks official. Official-looking documents are the difference between a letter and evidence is what people believe. You and Gerald email back and forth for 9 days. You are patient the way a person is patient when patience has a dollar value attached to it. By day 9, Gerald is convinced that the story is real. He is convinced because you made it feel real. You added details about the minister's children. You gave the children names. You said one of them has a medical condition. The medical condition made Gerald ask a follow-up question. Follow-up questions mean emotional investment. Emotional investment means the logic centers are being bypassed by something older and more powerful. You ask Gerald for the first fee. It is small on purpose, $450. Processing fee for the international transfer authorization. $450 is nothing compared to $2.55 million, which is what 30% of $8.5 million actually comes to. Gerald sends $450 via Western Union. You walk to the agent location and you pick it up in cash. You stare at the cash. It is more money than the supermarket paid you in a month, and you got it in 9 days without leaving your neighborhood. The problem with Gerald is that Gerald is one person, and one person, no matter how willing, runs out of willingness eventually. You need more Geralds. The next level is the script. You join a crew, not a gang in the way movies mean. A crew in the way that a call center is a crew. 5 people in a rented room in Yaba with laptops, phone chargers running from a single extension cord, and a whiteboard on the wall with a list of names and amounts owed. The leader of this crew is a man named Emmanuel, who is 26 years old and wears a chain and drives a Camry that is 3 years old, which in this context is the equivalent of driving a Ferrari. Emmanuel has been doing this for 4 years. Emmanuel has a system. The system starts with the persona. You are not yourself when you work. You are a character. The character has a name, a backstory, a government position, a family situation, and a set of emotional triggers they deploy based on the victim's responses. Emmanuel's crew has 5 characters. Each character has a folder on a shared Google Drive. Inside each folder, a profile picture stolen from a real person's social media account, a biography, email scripts for every stage of the conversation, response templates for 23 different objections a victim might raise, and a folder of documents, seals, letters, and certificates that can be customized and sent as attachments. You pick a character. You become that character every time you open the laptop. The character's name is Daniel Okonkwo. Daniel is a deputy director in the Federal Ministry of Finance. Daniel is 54, widowed, has 2 daughters, and is being pressured by corrupt colleagues who want a cut of the unclaimed funds he is trying to transfer legally. Daniel is sympathetic and bureaucratically credible, which is a specific combination that works on a specific type of victim. Emmanuel's rule is this: never deviate from the character. The moment you slip out of character, the victim feels something shift. They cannot name what shifted. They feel it. And the feeling is the thing that breaks the spell. You work the character for 60 days. You work 3 to 4 victims at a time, each at a different stage of the cycle. One in the early trust building phase. One at the first fee request. One who has already paid once and is being nudged toward the second payment. One who is resistant and needs a different approach, usually a new document or a new complication that explains the delay and recreates urgency. You make 180,000 naira in 2 months. Emmanuel keeps 35%. You keep 65%. What you keep is still more than you made in 6 months at the supermarket, and the work does not involve standing for 8 hours in a building without air conditioning. The problem with this email scam is the margin. You are splitting money 4 or 5 ways, and the victims you find through bulk email lists are increasingly alert. Email providers flag the messages. Spam filters catch the domains. The leads get older and less useful every month. Emmanuel knows this. Emmanuel has already moved. He shows you the next level over Suez at a spot near the market. He does not call it the next level. He calls it long thing. Long thing means the romance. Long thing means you are going to make a person fall in love with someone who does not exist. The romance scam does not begin with a story about a government minister. It begins with a connection. You build a fake profile on Facebook, Instagram, or a dating site. The profile picture is a white American or European man in his mid-50s or a white woman in her late 40s. The pictures are stolen from a real account that posts infrequently. The backstory is polished. He is a civil engineer working on an oil platform, or a doctor with Doctors Without Borders, or a widowed contractor somewhere in Eastern Europe on a long-term project. The distance explains why you cannot meet. The job explains the money. The money is important not yet as a target, but as a signal. You want the victim to know the character has resources, because a character with resources will seem like a safe investment later. You spend weeks just talking. Just talking is the key phrase. You ask questions. You remember the answers. You reference them later. The victim mentions their daughter's wedding in passing, and you ask about it 3 weeks later. That follow-up, that remembered detail, does more work than any template. It makes the person feel seen. Feeling seen is the most powerful feeling a lonely person can experience, and the demographic that responds to these profiles is disproportionately lonely people. People who lost a spouse, people whose children live far away, people who work alone and come home to quiet houses and whose social needs are not being met by the people around them. You are not choosing them because they are stupid. You are choosing them because they are human. Eventually, after weeks of conversation, the character mentions an investment. The investment is a cryptocurrency platform. The platform looks exactly like a real brokerage because it was designed to. The victim creates an account. They deposit a small amount. The platform shows them immediate returns, fake returns, numbers on a screen that go up and stay up, because the platform is controlled by the same people running the scam. The victim deposits more. The platform shows more gains. The victim tells friends they've found a great opportunity. They pull from savings. Sometimes they take out loans. Sometimes they borrow against their home. The FBI reported that in 2022 alone, romance scams accounted for losses to about 24,000 Americans, exceeding $1 billion. That number has only grown. By the time the victim tries to withdraw, the platform invents a tax fee, then a release fee, then a compliance hold. Each fee is small relative to what the victim believes they have on the platform. They pay the fee, and then there is another fee, and another. The money flows out of their life in increments that feel manageable until none of them are manageable anymore. The compound is the final form. You do not find the compound. The compound finds you. A recruiter, not from your crew, but from a larger organization, approaches Emmanuel through a contact of a contact. The organization operates from a building in Lagos that looks like a mid-range tech company from the outside. Inside, there are rows of workstations. Each workstation has 2 monitors, a headset, a script binder, and a quota board on the wall. The quota is how much you are expected to extract from your assigned victims per week. The building has a manager. The manager has supervisors. The supervisors have floor leads. The floor leads watch your screens in real time. If a conversation is going wrong, the floor lead taps your shoulder and gives you a redirect line. The building does not smell like a scam operation. It smells like a corporation, which is what it is. In December 2024, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission raided a 7-story building in Victoria Island, Lagos, and arrested 792 suspects in one operation. Among those arrested were 48 Chinese nationals, 40 Filipinos, and 599 Nigerians. The operation followed months of surveillance. The building they raided had been passing itself off as a corporate financial services company. Inside, investigators found workstations, scripts, and a training program where foreign nationals were teaching Nigerian recruits how to run cryptocurrencies, investment fraud, and romance scams at industrial scale. The money that comes out of these operations does not sit in a bank account with your name on it. It passes through a chain of cryptocurrency wallets. Analysts at blockchain firms have documented how scam proceeds are pooled into self-hosted wallets, then moved through a series of transactions designed to obscure their origin, sometimes through cross-chain bridges, sometimes through money mule accounts at regulated exchanges. By the time the money reaches the person at the top, it has passed through enough layers that the original theft is nearly invisible on the ledger. You are one node in a machine that is bigger than you understood when you walked in. You are making more money than you have ever made. You are also more replaceable than you have ever been. The reckoning comes from a direction you did not expect, because the reckoning always comes from a direction you did not expect. The EFC does not announce itself. It arrives at 5 in the morning when the city is still dark and the only sounds are generators and birds. They come with vests and vehicles and a warrant. You learn later that the operation was built on months of surveillance, that the intelligence was shared between the AFC and international partners, that your digital footprint had been mapped across IP addresses and cryptocurrency wallet addresses, and the metadata embedded in the documents you emailed to victims 3 years ago. The charges include impersonation, computer-related fraud, and money laundering. Under Nigeria's Cybercrimes Act, the sentences are not light. The building that looked like a tech company is photographed, and the photographs are published in newspapers. Your name is on a list. Not a list anyone who knows you sees immediately, but a list that exists permanently, attached to your identity in a system that does not forget. The victims do not get their money back. That is the part of the story that does not resolve. A 67-year-old man in Ohio who sent $450 and then WEFT $200 and then 300Z before the account stopped responding does not get a refund. A widow in Minnesota who believed she was building a life with a man named David who was actually a Google Drive folder with 5 templates in it does not get back the $220,000 she invested into a platform that was always a fiction. A teenager in the United Kingdom who was talked into sending explicit images and then told to pay to keep them private does not get back the nights he couldn't sleep. The money does not return. The months do not return. The trust does not return. That is what the ledger actually looks like when you read the full version. Not the money you made, the money that left people and never came back. You think about that sometimes. You think about it the way people think about things they are not able to undo. You did the math when you were 19, and the math made sense at the level you were standing at when you did it. The supermarket was $11 a month. The first email made $450 in 9 days. The math was not complicated. What was complicated was everything the math did not include. It did not include Gerald's fixed income and the $450 that was supposed to be his electric bill. It did not include the widow's retirement account and the years of work it represented. It did not include the teenager's name in a group chat being used to destroy him. The math never includes what the money cost on the other side, only what it gained on yours. And by the time you understand that the math was always incomplete, you are standing in a building that smells like a corporation, and your name is in a file with a warrant number attached to it. And the ceiling fan in the one-room apartment you were trying to escape is the same temperature as the room you are standing in now. The distance between where you started and where you ended up is measurable in naira and dollars and years. But the distance between who you were before the first email and who you are after the last arrest, that one does not have a unit. You just feel it, and you feel it for a long time. If you watched this far, you already know this channel does not do things halfway. Every video on here is researched, written, and told the way this one was, with real numbers, real stakes, and no shortcuts. If that now is the kind of content you want to see more of, subscribe. The button is right there and it costs you nothing. A new video drops every week and the next one is already in the works. Subscribe and we will see you there.